Welcome back to the On the Rock podcast. Hello, Leah.
Hello.
Good
Alex.
morning. Good morning. Hello, Mark.
How are we doing?
Mark Webb from Parkside Garage and Garage Vitals.
Yeah.
We are here today to speak about your story in coming into the motor trade. Family business, typical family business story. But what's really exciting about your journey is your journey into diversification, I guess. Saw an opportunity in the market and built a brilliant business out of it, which is Garage Vitals, which people may not be aware of. So I'd like to speak a bit about that today as well. So
It's because it's a story, but then also going to lead into a business that supports other garages and
in an area that I think is, I mean, even myself, is quite largely misunderstood, and certainly seems to be part of the future, which is a piece around dealer kit.
not even the future, is it? It's now.
Yeah,
Isn't
it is now, but perhaps it's...
Yeah, there's definitely jobs that without the dealer kit, you can't do them at the moment.
Yeah, which would be really good to pick your brains on and get to know a bit more about that. So do you want to... We'll dive straight into the story then. Do you want to... Where did it all begin? And a bit of an introduction about yourself.
Well, yeah, I'll try and keep it quite succinct because I'm sure it'll be a bit boring compared to Scott Boyd's.
Make a
Netflix series out of that.
He's got a really nice voice. Your voice is nice, but there's nothing compares to a nice Scottish accent.
So I suppose the story starts when my dad started the garage. I was still at junior school, and sort of a bit near leaving school, he was like, "Oh, don't come into the industry. There's not enough money in it, not enough." Not enough for you to do. And I was always into technology, cars. I like cars, but I wasn't really struck on fixing them. But I liked IT, so I went and did IT at college. I've always sort of been into that. Then when I left college, I installed phone systems, networking, all that sort of stuff.
you did that as a business or?
No, I worked for other people.
Right, okay.
And then my dad was getting me back in, around sort of early 2000s. Obviously, the Germans in particular were putting a lot of ECUs in cars. It was a lot more involved than, say, when I was at junior school. My dad's like, you don't want to come into this.
Yeah, points and distributors and.
Well, yeah, there's not enough differentiating factors between brands, makes, computers. So he was like, "Oh, can you come in? I've bought this software." Whatever it might have been, not even genuine stuff, just things for like pulling pin codes out of Audis and things like that. So we'd go in like on an evening, a weekend, try and get this thing to talk to the car. Back then it wasn't like a USB; it's like serial connections, and then you have
to find the connector on the bonnet somewhere, or
align the COM port. Obviously not just, but on the computer you've got a serial connection. Having to align the COM port to get the software to talk to the. So it was a bit of a battle, and I did a bit more of that, but I continued doing other things, and then he was calling me in that much to do different stuff, and obviously the market had developed at that point. Obviously manufacturers are fitting a lot more computerized equipment to vehicles, and it was probably a bit of an interesting proposition at that point. So he's like, "Well, why don't you come and join the business?" So I didn't join it till 2008, but I straight away went and sat like the Bosch Diagnostic training courses. So predominantly at like Taunton, which is like the nearest one to us.
So that's straight away as soon as you went into the business, you kind of straight on the course. So you knew that your path was going to be to help with the diagnostic side of the business.
Yeah, I think then that was probably more what interested me.
And was you doing that to learn how to diagnose the cars more, or learn how to use the software, the systems, or both?
I think, to be honest, it was more about learning the systems on the car, because obviously I'm coming in knowing nothing as a novice, and obviously you need to go and sit common rail diesel course. How does that work? Because how are you going to diagnose it if you don't know how it works? So it was really from that angle, just learning the various car systems. Obviously, right from on Bosch, if you've done it, it's VSE1, just volt drop, things like that. So really starting from the absolute basics.
Surprised how many people don't have to do a proper volt drop test. I didn't. Those fundamental courses are really interesting, aren't they? Because you might know 70% of it, but it's that 30% you do pick up. And
you still see people. We see people from other garages and they've got a power probe, but they don't know what they're doing with it.
Quite dangerous bits of kit, aren't they, if you don't know what you're doing?
Yeah,
Always
absolutely.
learn.
Yeah.
That didn't work.
Expensive trial and error.
We see a lot of people stick 12 volts up at PWM, and but so
it's really funny because I missed this side of the industry completely because back in that at the same sort of years, it was just engine. It was just all for me. It was just all mechanical engine rebuilding.
Yeah.
Just completely missed Diag. My extent of Diag was the old snap-on machine with the keys.
Yeah,
and it was a code read.
I think you'd been quite good at it as well. You'd have been a little Diag superstar.
Potentially, yeah. I did want to, but the timing was just never there for me. So yeah,
and that wasn't your garage at that time. You were doing loads of head gaskets, weren't you?
That's all we were doing. We were literally just doing engine work. Yeah, day in, day out, mechanical. But yeah, I do kind of wish I got to relive it again and get into the Diag side of things because I am
still time
lacking. Yeah, could do.
So yeah, where we get. So I joined the business, did the Bosch training courses, which was quite good as well because in Cornwall, especially at that time, Facebook's not really a thing, and you didn't really know anybody. And we're thinking, how some of these cars, how are we going to fix them? And you always got them fixed, and we always had a reputation for getting them fixed, but it probably took longer than it should have or could have. And we were looking around, and we bought Renault Clip, I think 2007. So that was sort of the first foray into that type of equipment. And it sort of begs the question, well, what else can you get? We did loads of Renault at that time as well. So that was obviously a fantastic way forward. And at that time, you could get Renault Security, which you can't now. So we were doing loads of it. And obviously, at that time, UCHs were rubbish. So we're sticking them in Clios and Traffics all the time.
Did you just build a reputation for Renault then, or why were you doing lots of Renault? Was it just the car park, or was it
crap? Yeah, the car park.
Nobody else wanted it.
Good business opportunity. Yeah.
They would just arrive, AARAC, whatever. They would just arrive. You just come in on a Monday, and they dropped 2 or 3 off over the weekend or something. Yeah, it's and I don't think it wasn't on purpose. It was the car park,
right?
And they were just being brought. So yeah, we went that way. Whereas now the Renault car park's not there, or certainly not where we are.
Yeah.
And that's really dropped off. The only thing we really do is a Traffic.
Yeah.
And a Zoe actually, we do those, but everything else is gone.
Yeah.
So we go and sit on these training courses, and then you get to meet someone. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Because no one in our area was really doing what we were doing. And then you're sort of quite lonely, really. And I was saying to Dad, I was like, well, how's everyone else fixing this? So, met people on those courses. And I mean, initially, I was sort of helping them with networking. I helped a few people get better Wi-Fi because obviously, the router sat in the corner of the building. So I helped them, you can buy these other things. And some people I just recommended, and some people I set it up for them. And that just led then into the next thing was, you're on a course and well, how are you programming this or programming that? I'm like, I'll use the dealer kit. I'm like, oh, how do I get that? And then they'd ring you up 2 weeks later and say, oh, can you help me get it? So
is this going back quite a few years?
Yeah,
Has this been happening since those Bosch courses?
Probably since about 2012.
Oh wow!
Like that.
Okay, so it's been happening a long time.
I get questions. I mean, predominantly at the beginning, it was like networking, and people having router issues and things like that. So
you're like the IT guru of these courses.
Yeah, I mean, it's like you're on a course, you cover 1,000 topics, don't you? Especially in the beer in the evening. They're like, oh, I can't do that. I can't do this in my workshop because there's no Wi-Fi, and I can't do this. I can't do that. And you just like, well, you can buy this or be, and it might just be you just giving them a link, like buy one of these, and it just led on and on and on, and eventually the phone call was coming that, how do I get Renault Clip, or how do I get Otis, or how do I get BMW? You said you were programming with that, and and then obviously explaining the difference between pass-through and the genuine interface, etc. So as that went on, I think probably around 2014, maybe 2015, I was thinking there's something to be had here, but I wasn't quite sure what it was. I knew it was OEM equipment, not networking, because most, most people, there's someone in your town that can do your networking if you know who to ask. So we are just looking at how to do it. And I remember saying about it to Dad and like, what was the angle? And I think initially I thought that the good garages, so if you think like, well, you know, everyone that's won like top tech and stuff, like, you know, Sean at Fergie's and Carl Weaver, Tom Cockins, like people like that. I thought they were already out there and they knew what they were doing. But over a couple of years, as I was speaking to these different ones and helping them, we sort of realised that some of those guys, they're more than capable of using the equipment, which is predominantly what my customers are. The equipment's fine, but it's the IT.
Yeah.
And they've not, they either can do it, but it takes them far too long. So like a popular call is, would you be able to look after my 3 or 4 PCs? My missus is sick of me taking them home and doing them on a Sunday. If I pay you to do it, I'll get my weekend back. Which is like fair comment.
This is updating the dealer kit. Yeah.
Yeah, sorry, I'm skipping around here. Mm-hmm. So, like I say, initially, I couldn't quite see the route to market. I wasn't quite sure what it was there for people. And then as time went on, like I said, having spoken to a few people, they were like, no, I can do I don't need you to help me use it, but I hate updating it, or I can't update it, or I can, but it takes me forever, and I have to reread the instructions every time. So it sort of quickly became apparent that realistically our customer, I was thinking, was like going to be sort of second tier or whatever, want of a word, that's already not using it, don't know how to use it, never used dealer kit equipment, and they were going to be looking to bring up. But actually, as it's turned out,
people needed time.
95% of our customer base is those top tier of garages, and those people that are already using it, or they might be using BMW, but now they want Otis or whatever. But and those people, as I said, people like Sean at Fergie's, just ringing me saying, I need my weekend back. I don't want to be doing this on a Sunday or.
And what sort of year was it you was getting these kind of questions then coming to you?
So I'd say that sort of conversation was probably happening 2016, 2017.
So up to that point, you started in 2008, going on the courses and things. You was it you mainly that was doing the diagnostics within the business, or have you got other people at this point that you've trained up as well? Or
we've had various people. We had a couple of people around that time. 2 of them then stopped working for the business, and it was really falling down to me and Dad at that point. And then subsequently, we've hired someone else, and we've now got 2 full-time guys on purely diagnostic.
And how have you found that? It's probably a different angle of the topic, but finding dietechs. So did you employ them as dietechs, or have you trained them to be dietechs?
So the 2 we've currently got came to us as master techs.
Right, okay. Master techs from a dealer, or?
No, they've been Tech Topics.
Oh, okay, that's good then.
Yeah.
It's probably handy having Tech Topics down that end of the
country. Yes, for us, yeah. And obviously their refresher each year, it makes it a bit easier. It's not too far. I mean, Bridgewater's a couple of
because you find obviously dietechs that have come from the dealer background and they know the brand and that system, but they're kind of trained in the dealer world to follow that system. And I always remember going on to the first diagnostic courses with Bosch, you kind of scrap the brand and you focus on the actual system in the car. So if it's a Bosch whatever system and things like that. And I quickly learned that what I thought I knew as a dealer kind of gold tech it was for Vauxhall at that point versus what was really out there was I
remember you saying to me before about when you left Vauxhall when you thought, I can fix all of these.
Yeah.
And quickly found out that it was not necessarily.
There's plenty more to learn, yeah.
So is the dealer diag world about following like a plan?
To be fair, this was Vauxhall. I know some of them are better than others, so I've not done them myself, obviously, but BMW, I think, and those sort of ones are much better. But Vauxhall was more about this is how you use the system, you follow it through. And I remember, for example, it will sort of say, unplug this, get your multimeter, and you should read this value. And you're kind of going, yeah, I've got that value next. So you don't understand really why.
So it's like
reading
that value. Guided.
Yeah, guided assistance.
So would you say that a non-dealership master tech is a higher understanding than a dealership master tech?
I can only speak for what I know and what I've experienced, but yeah, definitely. And again, ones that we've had coming into the business, which have been manufacturer led, they're just kind of almost instantly kind of like mind's blown once you kind of start scoping every kind of makeable out there and things like that. So
we've definitely had that. We've had master techs that have come from a particular brand and they don't last.
Which is why I think there's no point almost in recruiting for a diagnostic technician unless you can find someone that's been through but they're obviously much rarer, the people that have been through independent courses and training courses are much harder to
So
come
the
by.
independent master tech.
Yeah.
Who does, so James is doing it, isn't he, at Tech Topics?
Yeah.
Who else does?
I know John Batten does some technical training courses.
Yeah, I don't know what John's up to at the minute.
Does he do master tech?
I'm not sure.
I'm not sure. I don't believe he does specifically like an accredited course. He certainly
But it doesn't need to be, does it? It's kind of, you just need to learn, don't you? You just need to kind of learn different ways of doing things. And
it's a process that applies to a vehicle, isn't it, as opposed to a brand?
Yeah, and understanding what tooling you can use for what and things like that. Like, I always remember what you can do with a bulb test light is crazy.
Yeah.
If you know what you're doing with a bulb test light, you can save yourself checking
like
2 hours worth of wiring. You can short things down with that to battery ground. Anyone's like, you can't do that. Whereas if you know what you're doing, you can.
When you think about the volume of knowledge a modern independent master tech needs, though, to have any vehicle come into the workshop.
Yeah, I've heard James mention this. You've got to be like a HVAC technician, or you've got to be an electrician, you've got to be an engineer, you've got to be all these things.
And knowing what tools to use at the right time. And it's quite impressive, isn't it? It's very,
It's massively
underrated.
Yeah.
When my dad says this, it's like the customer comes in, expect you to be able to fix anything on this machine. It could be petrol or diesel or electric or hydrogen in a minute. And
it could be mechanical, could be electric.
And it's probably intermittent.
But, whereas, say, like, I don't know, a butcher, he's been butchering the same cow forever, hasn't he? Do you know what I mean? And nothing changes.
And even no disrespect to electricians, but I kind of feel like it's been a fairly similar kind of thing, whereas the advances in cars are just...
I think with electricians, the technology does change, but it's not a step change like automotive.
And also, I remember back in going back a few years, but you don't really know what you face until it comes in, because you get a new car in and it might have a slightly different Bosch system, and the fuel pressure regulator works a different way round to what it did on the previous system, whatever, and what was high pressure and high voltage now low. You know what I mean? So you kind of...
when you think about it, is there, out of all the main trades, is there, at the highest level in automotive, is there a harder trade?
We're all going to be biased, aren't we? But,
I know, but I mean, just try and not be biased.
It's also crazy that you don't have, you have to be gas safe registered.
Yeah, you don't have to anything.
And you can just roll up and change some brake pads on a 3-ton missile.
Yeah, when you look at electricians, the amount of regulation and what they have to do to keep registered,
I always remember when I was there, on our first units, and I was wiring up some workshop lights, and I got a scissor lift in, and I put like a post on Facebook, and an electrician friends like kicking off, like, you can't go and just wire that up, but they'll go and fit some pads on the car or whatever, and don't bat an eyelid, I'm like, it's just 3 wires.
It's always just 3 wires, yeah, it's crazy actually when you think about it. I'm not giving it too much thought, comparing it to other trades, but
we digressed there anyway. We was talking about
you're saying about the Vauxhall, so that's like what you're speaking about there is a test plan. So follow the test plan. And I always say this to people that it's their first go with some dealer equipment.
But all the equipment have test plans, don't they?
Yeah.
And they're better now than what they were.
I'd say some of them. I mean, BMWs.
You'd be stupid not to follow the test plan.
Blow your socks off. They're unreal. And the information within ISTA, it isn't just follow the test plan. Before you do the test plan, it gives you a whole list of, this is what's in the system. There's this component, this component, this component. This is how it works. This is why it works. Yeah. Sometimes expected values, which you don't really get anywhere else.
BMW was always one of the ones that was way.
But if you're a master tech, would you just follow the test plan, or do you apply your own logic and then apply a test plan?
As a dealer tech, you have to follow the test plan, or you're going to get paid by BMW basically.
Well, this
But what if you know the test plan's not right?
You still got to follow it.
So this is what I. So when I sell someone a piece of equipment, I try and when they receive it from us, the first thing we do is we will connect to the first car with them. So we'll make sure, first of all, you get your interface connected, you understand how you're connected, how to buy a token, all the real basics. And then we'll pull the VIN from the car, and we either induce a fault or they'll get one in that's got something basic. We don't want to be doing anything too hard on the first one. And then I'll show them the test plans. And the way I always describe it, the test plans are, first of all, fantastic, but you've also got to remember from the point of view of the manufacturer, the test plan's only there to save the dealer money, or not the dealer, to save BMW from paying the dealer warranty work. So you follow the test plan in the exact order. If you don't get paid, right? The other thing is sometimes, and this is not always the case, but I'll blitz through the test plan because sometimes step 6 might be my issue. But sometimes step 1, it'll be, I'll remove the engine ECU and test this wire from the engine through to the body module, whatever. I'm thinking, I'm not removing all that. Or it's in a safety cage. Like, you know, I'm thinking, well, I'm not going to. So obviously, I'm not getting paid from the dealer or from the manufacturer anyway. So I'll just we'll skip that bit. And sometimes you'll find the issues down here. But we can always go back round and do it again.
Use your own logic.
That's what I mean. There's got to be cases where the test plan is not necessarily the answer. I'm completely
from an independent point of view.
Yeah, from an independent.
Yeah, I think from an independent point of view, you just as you get better, you might not even pick up the digital straight away. You'll assess what you need, and you'll probably know that I need test plan for this because there's a certain function that it does at a certain point. I remember, when they used to sort of hold some revs up and test EGR and all that, and be like, that's a problem there. And it'd be quite right.
The parameters should be.
Yeah, and it'll kind of run tests, which obviously you can't do yourself because it's kind of holding at a certain RPM and changing things to kind of like test systems, which you can't do yourself anyway. So
the dealer tool will actually.
Yeah, they were called, on Vauxhall, they were called like, what was it called? Wasn't it actuator tests? I think. Yeah, things like that, like actuator tests.
Yeah. Well, you can run actuator tests in most dealer tools that I just want to run the fan or something.
Yeah.
But within the test plan, I mean, like I said, BMW's got a great one for EGR cooler.
Yeah.
And it'll actuate the flaps. And you're looking at the data and you think, it's moving. And at the end of the plan, I thought, that's probably all right. And it changed temperature, I think, by 120%. I thought, that's pretty good. It's going to pass this. It's obviously going to be something else. And on the next screen, it went, no, fail. This has to change temperature by 150%. I was like, oh.
And that's obviously what the ECU is looking for in real world driving. It's probably what's flagging the light. It's kind of going, well, that's not got to this threshold. It's going to throw the light on.
But without that dealer tool in that instance,
you would have.
As a layman, if you're using a generic tool, whatever, Autel, KTS,
you could have gone down a right winding path, couldn't you?
Well, you'd be like, well, it works.
Yeah.
It's moving.
Yes. Like, so once you tick something off, that's a bad tick, isn't it?
It certainly can. And the other thing, you take a pinch of salt on dealer tools. Sometimes they can be a bit too keen to just replace an ECU or something. Mm-hmm. But I always liken it. I think it's because at the end of the day, it's being built to save the manufacturer money, and a bit like the iPhone, it costs 10 quid to produce in China. How much do you think that ECU that costs you 1,100 quid? What does that cost BMW or Volkswagen? It's probably costing them 50 quid.
And a lot of times I think that used to happen when you're testing on an intermittent fault because you're kind of doing all these tests which pass, but because the fault isn't actually there in that point of time. So the kind of test plan's like, well, it can only be the ECU then or something. Or
and also the test plan's built for a less than 3-year-old car, isn't it?
Yeah.
Right? And we're working on a 5, 6, 7, 8,
a Renault.
10, whatever. Exactly, and their premise is different than ours. Their remit's different. We're working for a different way, for a different type of customer, and in a different age range of vehicles. So we've got to think sometimes a little bit outside the box, outside of that test plan. What really might be going on? Because I can see there's water in the boot. It can't.
Or you know what to look for water in that car, but
On the Ramp is very proudly sponsored by Castrol and the race group from Certus Energy. Our own business, Lindley's Auto Centres, have been using Castrol products via the race group for at least 10 years. We get our own account manager. They help us set up the oil portfolios across the branches. And there's also someone to ring if we've got any technical queries or general queries. And having that relationship with the account manager, I think, is really important. We get dual branded workwear. So just like what I'm wearing now, we get this free for all members of staff. We get to use the Castrol brand across our entire business. So things like building signage, websites, general marketing, etc. And working with a globally recognized brand like Castrol, I believe, can really elevate your own brand. There's a rewards platform. So for every purchase, we accumulate points that we can redeem against certain items on this reward platform, which is pretty cool. And then there's an integration via our garage management software that allows us to actually see the exact oil product code that should be used in that vehicle, which in today's world and the complexities of oil is actually really helpful. So if you want to learn more about how Castrol can help elevate your business, and you want to learn more about how the race group can help you, then please click on the link in the description below. Thank you.
So anyway, you're kind of well covered then from a diagnostic point of view, and so at 2016 when you started getting these phone calls about, can you help with this, help with that? At that point, where was you at in the garage from a skill set point of view?
Yeah, so at that point, I think it was only me and Dad doing the diagnostics in the garage.
Right. Okay.
We obviously had other technicians doing the basic work.
Did you ever get into mechanical yourself?
No, not really. I did the basics when I first joined, but I very quickly went down. And one of the things we ended up doing as part of diagnostics was keys. My dad had identified that at the end of the day, if these dealer bits of kit can program keys, then that's a good avenue for money. So I ended up doing quite a lot of keys.
Are keys still? Because I remember we did bits and bobs of keys, and the brands we specialise in probably 5, 6, 7 years ago. But then we ended up just not bothering because, what's it like now? The key kind of industry, if you like, because it kind of got harder and harder and harder to get hold of, the right access. And I remember you could get security codes of Vauxhall quite easily, and then it got harder and harder. So.
Some of it's down to your contacts. Whether certain dealers will give you, like I say, Peugeot, Citroën, and Vauxhall, getting codes from those. I mean, we have a good relationship with our local dealer. I can get them no problem.
Yeah.
But like if you speak to Steve Patterson, Steve's got a little app that you can get, and he'll get you loads of different codes.
I remember when he started that. What was the name? I can't remember the name of it now, but there's a website he used to have, and you could go on and apply. And
you can just
security
log in.
codes. Was it just security codes? Wasn't it?
Auto security codes.
Yeah.
Sorry, Steve, I can't remember the exact name. I'm sure we can probably stick a link at the bottom of the thing, but I'd recommend it. Steve does a good job on there. If you are doing, and it's not just for key programming. If you've got to replace certain modules, you're going to need the immobilizer code.
But keys from a business viability point of view, is it still something that's?
Yeah, we absolutely. I mean, there's some keys there's better money than others.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong. And you got to, if you're not doing it with genuine kit with a genuine key, which I'd say very often there's not enough money in that, then you have got to know what you're doing.
Yeah, where to buy it from.
And I think, the other thing, things like Fords, if you want to put a new BCMI in a Transit, then you've got no choice. You need 2 keys. If the customer's only got one, you're going to have to supply one.
Do you think more people are going to go down the Tesla route with keys?
I think
they haven't done yet, so still.
It's crazy. It's like a leap in technology, though, isn't it? And then
there's been
no one's following suit.
Yeah.
I mean, BMW will supply the key ready to start the car. If you go to an aftermarket locksmith, then they're e-promming it. They're doing whatever.
So you can buy a key from BMW, and it'll be a key ready to go.
Yeah. Mercedes as well.
Do you think they're kind of keeping that way is for money? Because you compare it to Tesla, you just buy a key online.
I'm sure something like BMW, like they have like so many slots for that car or something.
10 slots, yeah.
That's it.
So what happens when you run out of 10 slots?
Need new everything.
That's such bollocks, isn't it? Because that is obviously just a fictitious
security
limit.
I can't say that it's definitely the same on a 2024, but typically, there's 10 keys. Once the 10th one's gone, your new immobilizer modules.
You need 10 keys, you've got bigger problems.
You've
already need 10th key.
But then, by the time the car's that old, there's going to be an aftermarket method, right? Someone's got AVDI.
Yeah.
You're going to take the module out, EEPROM it, and they'll code a key.
Or versionalize it and start again or something. Or?
They'll just delete what's in slot 8 and just plonk it in there. And you can buy an aftermarket key. There's a way. But the other problem is, and I mean, people doing Volkswagen will be familiar with this, particularly with the MO4 on Volkswagen. If you've got a locksmith that's, they've gone to the airport in the middle of the night and they've got to get this car going and they can't pull the CS data from the vehicle, they'll just blast whatever over the top. And now the car will never work with Otis. Well, it will diagnose it, but you'll never be able to do a security job with Otis again because the car's been changed from its factory or what's stored on Volkswagen
just
server.
go in there and then.
And now you can't do it.
Can you unwind that, or is that car in trouble?
The car's in trouble. The only way to unwind.
And is this because someone's created a method that's not recognised by Volkswagen?
It's a hack, I guess, isn't it, almost?
Well, what you should do, if you've got AVDI, you can do it properly, but it depends if the guy knows what he's doing. So, obviously, AVDI is not the only way, but if you pull the CS data from the car, sometimes you require a working key to do that. So, obviously, that's a problem. Yeah. Or sometimes if you EEPROM it, you don't need the working key. So, you get the data. You can then, what they call pre-code the new key, the aftermarket new key. Then you put it back together, and then you can program the key in. But if the guy either doesn't know what he's doing, or for whatever reason he just changes that CS data rather than reads it and uses it again, you've altered the car from its...
What Volkswagen's expecting. Yeah.
When you plug Otis in, it will send the data from the ECU. Yeah, well, you get a FATSIT error, which is Volkswagen's security. So everything VAG, and even ones that aren't on Otis, Lamborghini, Bentley, Porsche, there is a bit of string of data in the back of the ECU that will be on the server. When you plug it in, you'll get a FATSIT error. And at that, anyone who rings me up and says, I've got a FATSIT error, it's just give up. You'll need another ECU or whatever you've got to do. It's a no-go.
You know all this improvement in security, and is this the same thing? Like if you look at in the news about Range Rovers all being pinched and stuff, is it all to do with the same sort of thing? Is it because they were, people, you see the videos where they're just scanning for a key and
can
jumping
you
in the
see,
car?
with working different security systems, can you see anything yourself that why others are better than Land Rover?
No. I mean, the worst thing is with the dealer tool, you can still have problems programming keys, yet someone can nick a thing.
Yes, true.
I did actually look. A customer of mine, a really good customer of mine, lost his key. He found it in the end, so I didn't have to do anything. But I was thinking, what am I going to do here? Because he needed a new KVM, a new body module, and then a pair of keys, and it was running away on cost. I was thinking, what can I do? I was thinking, I might have a little look, see if I can get this gear.
Go nick it.
Yeah. Well, I did, and I found the equipment. I spoke to the guy, foreign guy, obviously, on WhatsApp, and you can buy it. It's like $7,500, and comes with 10 keys ready to nick the cars.
Good ROI.
Yeah. I thought I'm not, because the thing is, that's the other thing as well.
So what would he have done? Like you've got this equipment. Because I thought they mirrored the key. I thought they were using a...
That's a different... So what you're talking about is you're talking like a range extender. So you take like a receiver and you put it in their window.
Yeah.
And then you've got your other end there, which will repeat that signal louder at the car. Then it'll unlock. And obviously, if people leave the car key on the roof and drive off, the key falls off, the car will still go, won't it?
Yeah, until you start it again, yeah.
And then when they'll obviously just stop it somewhere, because obviously they're only going to strip it for bits or whatever they're going to do, or they'll have some other equipment to
code a
do.
key.
But what we're talking about is when they go and nick one from a car park, no signal. They basically
in the OBD port, and
they'll break in the OBD port. It's 30 seconds. The car's started. The key you've got now will just work as a key.
It's crazy, isn't it?
It's bonkers. I can't believe. And what Land Rover, Range Rover, JLR, whatever you want to call them, are doing, they're doing things like locking the KVM module and now potentially the body module so that it won't accept any more keys. So if you just want say you lose one and you have a second one, now you want another key, obviously. You go to the dealer and they're like, well, we can't give you an additional key only. You have to also replace the keyless module.
So there's a lot more security because of these vulnerabilities that have been...
Yeah, it hasn't done the job because you can still nick them. They need.
It's like anything wants some things to target. It's like securing your house. If someone wants to get in, they can get in to a certain degree, isn't it?
JLR are obviously going to have to find another way.
It's funny what Tesla is so simple, isn't it? Just got a pin to drive.
Yeah.
Sounds so stupid, and I'm sure there's perhaps a way around it, but the stats on stolen Teslas that have pin to drive...
Yeah, because insurance companies often say you've got to have pin to drive on.
It's so effective.
We did our work with a Tesla. So if you've not got pin to drive on, then they won't insure the car.
Yeah, right. So effective. And so, you think back 20 years, there were cars that did have a pin to drive, the old Peugeots.
Peugeot. But then, obviously, it's just need to develop from that pin code. Instead of typing it, it's in that chip in the key. The problem is these keyless vehicles.
which is every vehicle now.
Yeah, well, yes,
pretty much.
Pretty much, yeah. But then some of the manufacturers aren't having the problem, are they?
Yeah, it's odd.
But JLR
Anyway,
are.
we've
Digressed.
again.
Yeah.
So you've what I like about this, because it was about the time that we met, 6 or 7 years ago. I can't remember now.
Well, 2018, and I gave you and Ray a very hard time.
Yeah, you were the very first person I demoed.
Yeah.
And I came out of the demo and thought, what the hell am I doing? This guy's not interested.
It's a polite way of putting it. What did you really say?
Yeah, it was honestly. It came out of the demo like so deflated, like, oh, because he just grilled me. I was completely inexperienced, and yeah, I got plastered to the wall with a load of questions I didn't know the answer to, and
So your first what called a tech geek.
it really was. It really was, yeah. And he was well prepared, and I wasn't. But anyway, it's not about Garage Hive. It was around about that time that you actually started speaking about Garage Vitals. I think it came into life in the same year.
So I mean, I was, by 2018, I was doing a lot of it to the point. Well, I mean, it was all billing out through the garage at that point, and I was doing so much of it. I was struggling to fix things that were in my workshop.
I was going to say that. If it was in 2016, it was you and your dad doing most diag, and then you think about embarking on this, helping out other people as well.
Yeah.
So, but the point I'm making, you spotted an opportunity, you got organised and you built a business, but you've still got a garage.
Yes.
And it's a big garage. For those that don't know, it's huge. It was huge when I was there, and you've moved premises since to a bigger unit.
Yeah.
What was your premises size before?
I wish I could tell you the square footage, off the top of my head.
It feels like 7,000-ish square foot. It was big.
It's probably fair enough. We had 2 ramps purely for like diag, sunken in the floor jobs. We had 3 ramps, 2 posters for just generic, normal mechanical stuff, and then we had 2 MOT bays. Although predominantly we only really filled 1 because quite a few MOT stations open near us. So the other ramp was then just used for the odds and sods or big things, because we do quite a lot of vans.
Yeah.
So we've now moved. We've now got
just 7 bays.
10 bays now. We built a brand new MOT building with the biggest Class 7 ramp that you can fit or that you can buy. So that would just cover, because we're just thinking the long game. What's the longest thing that's going to be on the road? If we do go EV or whatever, vans are going to need to be diesel for longer, and camper vans, delivery vans, those things are going to be on the road for a long time.
Do you see a lot of campers?
Yeah, a reasonable amount.
Down your way.
There's obviously quite a few places that are storing them,
Yeah.
things like that. So yeah, obviously spring, beginning of summer, they're all coming in for their MOTs.
So what was your main driving force to expand and move premises?
So we were renting our previous,
before.
and we were trying to buy it. Our landlord had no interest in selling. He passed away, left it to his wife. She would sell, but she wanted like 3 times its value. So we sort of had a bit of a regroup. There was more land out the back.
So was the main drive was that you wanted to own premises?
Yeah.
It wasn't necessarily that you needed space, but obviously that was a benefit of it. But the main thing was about long-term owning the premises and...
Yeah, I mean, owning it, because obviously I might as well be paying my own mortgage as paying rent.
Yeah.
But aside from that, it's safety, because there's not many properties that we could run that business.
I see, yeah.
And if she did, I mean, her husband passed away. If she passed away and they leave it to the son, we don't know what he's going to want to do.
Yeah. Flatten it all and...
Yeah. Well, they have already tried 4 times to do that to that site.
Okay.
And maybe the council's going to say yes.
It was a huge risk, wasn't it?
And just security and knowing we can own it, because the other thing is the car park on the side was rented separately.
If you lose that, then you've...
If I lose the car park, we can't operate, as you're saying out here.
Yeah.
It's...
so was it a case of something came along...
Well, we tried to buy that, and then there was more land at the back, so we got together, so it was like 3 odd acres, so we got together with a few other companies to divvy it up. But again, we still couldn't pry it out of our hands. And it's still not sold now, it's sat there empty. But we were looking around, and I must have tried to buy every brownfield site, everything.
Well, you were looking when we met,
yeah.
You completed last year?
Completed. We took ownership July 23, but we spent 8 months refurbing the place
Right.
to make it right. They only had 2 doors on the front. There was no door in the rear where the car park was. So we had to cut a hole, put a door in, which sounds easy, but the trouble was all the 3-phase electric went right where the door was. So we had to pull all the electrics out. Then we ended up, we must have spent 70 grand on electrics and alarm and fire.
Did you have a budget?
We had an idea what we wanted to spend.
And how much more was it?
Yeah.
I find electric is one of the things that always end up costing more than you ever think. I don't know why you get a gut feeling, it'll be about 10 grand. And it's like 20 grand.
Well, we ended up basically all new electrics as well. And plus we put this new MOT building up. So that was
Was you built a building?
all new. Yeah, well, there was a building there. It wasn't tall enough for the Class 7 bay. So rather than take the roof off, whatever, we just essentially pulled it down and put a different one up. Yeah. Plus, obviously, we had to dig the floor up for the MOT.
Yeah, that's expensive as well. Yeah.
And that, how that runs away. You start digging the floor, and then you find a load of rebar, and costs start to escalate, don't they?
How did you find the whole premises moving then?
Well, as I had a double extension on my house at exactly the same time, not intentionally, but I got the keys for the premises within 3 days of breaking ground on a double extension. So, plus the 2 businesses, and then obviously, refurb it, run the 2 businesses, which is sort of, I'd take a step out of the business for a while. Just wasn't physically possible to do everything.
Is the business quite self-sustaining in the way it runs?
Yeah, on a day-to-day basis.
Is this Parkside, the garage?
The garage, yeah. Yeah, on a day-to-day basis. Well, I'm not there now, am I? The guys, we've got 4 in front of house. 2 of them are doing predominantly like workshop loading, dealing with the staff, the pricing of the jobs and like additional stuff. One of them's predominantly parts. He does a bit of customer contact depending on what's going on, but obviously the amount of parts we're moving in and out, and obviously we're running it through Garage Hive, so there's paperwork involved, and obviously parts now can be awkward. We need one of these, and you got to get a diagram, and they don't make this.
Yeah, we're a full-time parts guy.
Yeah, they don't make this or this. Well, I needed a new bracket on my exhaust, and they didn't. You could only buy it with the back box. Right, so he worked out that we just had to measure, and the front clamp was the same size. It was slightly different. So rather than a whole back box, you could, just stuff like that comes up all the time. So he's really good at that. And then I got another guy. Predominantly is proper front house. He's on the front desk, all those keys in and out. And
how many techs?
We got 8 techs, an apprentice, plus me and my dad.
So a good ratio, front of house to
2 to 1.
Yeah, 2 to 1.
And they're still busy. It's still hardly enough time in the day for them to get.
But I think that when you've got the front of house doing proper admin, and they are organising parts, and they're doing health checks, and they're going to be busy.
Yeah.
Organising 8 technicians organising them properly is a serious amount of work.
Especially when you look at the dealership models, if you had somewhere with even 7 or 8 techs, they always have probably 2 in parts, and then they have a receptionist, and then a workshop controller, and a manager, and then the front of house. So sometimes we just see front of house as service advisors, but they're not the service advisors, they're parts advisors, they're receptionists, they're salespeople,
counsellors. Obviously, it does need 3.5 grand's worth of parts. Why? And then they've got to explain the ins and outs. And what if I don't have this? What do I do?
I think most people agree it's one of the toughest roles, isn't it? The front of the house team. So
absolutely,
it's funny because whenever we mention front of house, there's a lot of kickback from technicians.
Well, I was going to say that your technicians always seem to think there's too many in there.
Yeah,
but they wouldn't want to go in there and do it.
It's funny, isn't it? It's like there's just tension between the two roles.
And especially, and then again, if you add in a vehicle sales department and a parts department, and they're just it's hard to get harmonies between them all.
But it's that old, you sat on your arse in the office, you can't possibly be working.
The biggest thing is, though, is in this industry, things do go wrong. Either a mechanic might make a technician might make a wrong diagnosis, which happens sometimes, a part might break or whatever, and relaying that onto the customer is down to the front of house team. And I think that's often forgotten that, and but don't go wrong technicians say, but they don't get the right information on the job card or whatever. So, it's
the war between front of house and workshop.
Yeah.
It's never going away. So you've got successful business, moved site. What's next for Parkside? Like, where have you got?
How's the site? Is it all functioning now, or is there still?
I mean, so we took ownership July. We moved in, started MOT and moved all our staff there. Almost 12 months to today, I think. And obviously, we weren't fully, there's still stuff that needs bolting to the wall. And
Do you have much downtime?
Organising. I mean, in terms of technicians, normally no. I'll tell you that the end of January, it really died off the last sort of week and a half. I don't know if you guys felt that.
What? And you just moved, have you?
No,
sorry.
this January.
Oh, right, sorry.
In terms of you mean downtime?
Downtime when he's moving, yeah.
No.
Did you have a new MOT? So you had a new MOT bay?
New MOT bay, yeah. I would say actually we moved, and obviously we just had a glut of backlog because we had to reduce our capacity so much for the move. So what we tried to do was we moved some of the ramps. I think, what did we bring with us? I think I brought 4 of the ramps with us. The 2 recessed ones, and I had 2 nigh-on new rotary ramps, so we brought those with us. So we brought 4 with us, and everything else was new. So we basically continued working on the old ramps that weren't coming, moved those 2s, and then we were like 50% capacity. Then we went down to the other site where we had some new ramps already, and then these other ones. And then some of our staff came and worked there, and then a couple of them we had to refurb that building to get out, so we kept some behind.
And how long was that period of running at reduced capacity?
Probably from January to the beginning of March.
And did you factor that in as like a cost, the loss of revenue at all?
We knew I'd sort of been cash flowing it, and I knew that was going to be a bit of a bottleneck.
We had that when we moved Body Shop. I think that 1 month we was down like about 20 grand in gross profit. So you add that into your moving cost basically, because it's 20 grand gone, isn't it?
I didn't. Well, I mean, it depends how you look at it. I didn't really factor it as a cost per se, but I suppose I did have it in as a cost, as a cash flow, just so I knew.
Do you feel like you underestimated how hard it was going to be, or was it pretty much what you expected?
It's what I expected, I think. But obviously, I had never planned to do the extension at the same time.
Yeah,
so you
couldn't even go home and just relax. It was like
there were days where, like, I had 5 people want me at the same time, and and obviously if you're not answering these questions, they're not working. Whether that's on your house or on a car or on the renovation,
it costs you more money the less you.
and you're just trying to placate everybody.
I watch Tom Hartley Jr. Do you follow him at all?
No, I know the name.
Well, Tom Hartley Jr., he sells these really, really high-end cars, and at the minute he's building like a 60,000 square foot new business premises in the Cotswolds,
right?
Which is quite far away from where they're based now. So they're in Lutterworth sort of way, and he's also having a new house built. And sometimes you watch some of his like little reels and things. He's documented on YouTube actually the move, and you can just see that he's still selling these cars, building this. And I think this premises building is going to be one of the biggest, best showrooms probably in the country sort of thing. So,
just suckers for it though. Suckers for the pain.
And it's the details, like those last little bits of, oh no, don't forget there's that cable that's got to go in the wall. And
it's very easy to not finish those bits, isn't it?
Yeah.
Or worse, someone paints it and then you think, no, I had a cable to run in behind there.
Yeah.
Just going back that last Tom Hartley video on the YouTube, they were signing off, well not signing off, but it was getting quotes for the lighting in the premises, and it was over £1 million job just for the lighting.
Yeah. There's everything like that kind of
What
pain.
the hell was he having?
Yeah.
What? Right, we are cracking on with time. We're 50 minutes in. There's a few things that I want your opinion on, which I think are quite topical. So we've asked a couple of people this question, but remote diagnostics.
Yep.
Are they here to stay? Is that part of the future?
I mean, it's definitely here to stay because there's 14 companies in the UK alone that are doing it. And obviously that's part of a bigger network that, if you've got an Oscar or obviously Hella do it, Autologic are doing it.
How well do they work? Do you know? Like, is it literally, so the car comes in any fault, you can just ring these guys and get it fixed.
So not all, but most of these companies are using a bit of kit made by a company called Jifeline. It basically, there's a box of tricks that you buy as a customer, and there's a receiver box at their end. You plug in, by default, obviously it's going to look at their receiving equipment. They can basically plug in any bit of kit, whether that's an OEM bit of dealer kit, so whether that's they're plugging Isterin or Otis, or they might have some other, they might have AVDI, and they can plug that in. And basically, those boxes are talking to each other to essentially fake the fact that their equipment at their office is plugged directly into your car.
It's like a really long cable.
Yeah.
That's a good way of looking at it.
They can then perform all of those normal types of tasks. Now, all the basic stuff's no problem. There obviously are some jobs. So if you look on the websites, they'll show you what they can and can't do, or they'll show you what they can do. I don't think they list what they can't, but you'll notice there's quite a few various jobs that are missing. And it's because some things, with the latency over the internet, they're not getting a fast enough response from the vehicle, or the vehicle's not getting a fast enough response from the tool, and it assumes whether it's been unplugged or disconnected or whatever has happened, and you can end up with a non-start or something like that in that.
Is it if it's halfway through like a programming and
yeah,
and is it like more coding and programming, or is it actual diagnostics as well? Because obviously diagnostics is quite a lot about got to speak to the.
Yeah.
Do you have to speak to them? Sort of, this is the symptoms. It does it at this time, and do they need all that information as well? So
almost like a remote master tech.
Yeah.
As well.
Is it like a remote master tech, or is it more of a coding service?
Yeah. I say so. Right away, we're into, and we have this with customers. The word diagnostics. So I think it's the same with customers as it is with this. You asked me one question, I'm answering a slightly different question, if you will. Most of these services are offering coding and programming. Some of them specifically only do it. So like Core, they only want to do coding and programming. And I believe those guys are a bit more interested in getting involved in the awkward ones. Whereas, don't quote me 100%, a bit Hella, I think, are into diagnostic. So they will help you. Obviously, AutoLogic, if you've got an AutoLogic subscription and you've got their
that's
device.
Always been their model, isn't it? Yeah.
That's their model anyway. Yeah. So they will help you with, run this test plan. But obviously those things, they're pretty intensive, because you got to have him on it there, and you got to have you, and you got to do.
And I can't see it being very efficient.
No, for me, if you've got the piece of equipment in front of you, you can obviously read the test plan. You can then see the wiring diagram. Where someone's on the end of the phone going, "Oh, it's the plug. If you rotate it this way, it's pin 14, and that is the fifth one in, and the wire." You know what I mean? It's
hard enough when if you had another technician look at something and they come to you for advice, and you, like, even if you're there with them to kind of go through it all, that's tricky.
It must work to some degree though, because it's a growing market.
Well, I guess it depends on what level of the fault is with the car, isn't it? If it's something that's just come in with a light on and I
mean, obviously anyone who's using that is predominantly going to be plugging in something generic before they make that call. Because it might just be a stress. And you couldn't possibly run your business by calling someone, because they're not going to be available instantly. You have to book a time slot. I think when you ask, is it here to stay? So let's go back to the remote diagnostics. Let's say, I think remote coding and programming is here to stay. I would say that if you're a garage, depending on the size of your place, you probably want 3 or 4 of the genuine OEM's tools, probably at most. Because anything beyond that, I mean, unless you've got a team of guys and you've got one does that brand, one does that brand, you can only learn so much, and you can only keep that in your head. And the tricky ones, you can't really be using all of these tools to their maximum. So you sometimes are going to need something to dig you out of a hole, I think.
What's their market? What these people providing this service? Because I guess if you are going to do it, you're going to buy the tools and learn and train and things like that. So are they aiming it at those sort of people? Because I know sometimes, like for us, even though we specialise in a lot of brands, there'll probably be some brands that we might still get in which we don't specialise in. So is it a case of like, we'll use that for the brands we don't fully know? But then most people like that will just kind of not touch that stuff anyway. If it's not a brand they specialise in, they just won't do it.
So I think there's a lot of people that are still running a we'll take anything on model, which if you're just servicing, then no worries. But if you're going to take it on and you're going to start, and you might just be replacing a steering rack or something, but they're going to probably need coding now.
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah, I thought that. Is that
So-
mod? Yeah, because of yeah.
If it's just servicing, then fine. But so we have limited what brands we take on as a diagnostic workshop, absolutely, and it has made a difference because you haven't got the coding capability for Mitsubishi, say.
Have you limited it to just what you've got the dealer kit for?
Yeah.
Okay.
So it definitely, as obviously I've got guys that work in the workshop dealing with that, there is only so much they're going to be able to remember. They've got to remember how to fix the car, let alone learn all the different tools. And then when you have a problem, because again, even with dealer tools, it won't code. Why won't it code? Is it me? Is it the tool? Is it my access? Because maybe I haven't got the correct access. Because that's something that comes up. You've got Mercedes. If you've not got the correct, there's like 4 or 5 different bits of access you've got to have on Mercedes. If you haven't got them all, you may not be able to do certain jobs.
I remember once we did a steering rack on a BMW and we couldn't code it, and the dealer did it like straight away. And I don't know if it's still the case, but I think like the independents were always like almost like one version out of the dealer almost.
You've got the
at some
BMW
point.
kit, haven't you?
Yeah, but even though ours was up to date, it was still slightly behind the dealer.
From the guy, I know one particular guy in a workshop near me, and from what he's saying, it sounds like we are one version behind what they're using. But they also have a slight difference. So with the independent, if we're out of date, we cannot use it. In the dealer, they'll release an update, and they can still use the previous one, which I think is where we are. And I don't know if they're almost using the dealer like a guinea pig. So he told me they've had to adjust the way they work because, I don't say often, but he said now and again they'll release an update. We all install it on our machines, and all of a sudden we can't work.
Yeah.
So that they do suffer as well. So they'll just do one and test it before they roll it to the rest of their machines, which...
I guess also in the dealer world, they've probably got cars less than 3 years old with a particular new software update that's come out, which they're going to need more than what the independent's going to need. So it makes sense to kind of like almost do that, let it be at that level.
Yeah.
But
You mentioned all makes, like taking on all jobs if you just service them, but isn't it right that some even resetting some service lights on some cars is a challenge now?
Yeah, absolutely can be. I mean, obviously, first of all, they've all got multiple different service levels. What am I resetting? I mean, obviously, look at BMWs. There's like 9 different lights. Yeah. So you sort of be a bit careful with that. Some of them, I mean, if you've got certain JLR vehicles, there's an instrument cluster update or the light won't reset.
Yeah.
Well, that seems to be getting a bit less common now because I think most of them had that software update. But if you get one, it will not reset until you update the instrument cluster.
So my next question, which we've kind of led into, is around dealer tools.
Yeah.
Now, you mentioned that you would recommend having a few dealer tools for certain makes, and that's what that garage should take on in terms of diagnostic work.
I mean, from my point of view, that's what we've done, and obviously that's what if anyone asked me, that's what I would recommend. So I do get some people ring me up, and one guy in Australia, he wanted like 14 different brands, and I just said no. So I'm just
That's not happening.
Yeah, I don't know, won't do it.
So do you recommend that, because you sell these kits, don't you, in some cases?
So from a Garage Vitals perspective, ask me with a different hat on. So from that perspective, so what we do as a business, we'll set you up as a company with the manufacturer, get you accredited. Sometimes that's you as a person, sometimes that's you as a business, sometimes that's both. For you, for instance, we sometimes have to verify some of your staff who's going to be using the kit. We will then, once that's fully operational and you've got all the rights you need, we can then supply a laptop with everything installed. And then, we can guide you on where to buy the interface so you can get connected.
And do you recommend, because there are some training courses, aren't they, on dealer tools?
Yeah.
Do you recommend them? Do you think they're necessary?
It's 100%, yeah. So there's some really good ones. I mean, there's John Morgan that a lot of people have been using for Volkswagen.
Yeah.
I know James Dillon does a Volkswagen one as well. Some of the tools are easier than others. For instance, like Ford, it very much does what it says on the tin. There's not a lot there. In fact, I'm not aware of anyone that does a training course. You can probably go to Ford direct. What Whereas Odis, it's a vast program. There's lots to learn, lots of ins and outs. It's absolutely worth doing the course. Although I would say, do have the Odis first, use it for a month or two to know what you don't know before you go on the course.
Yeah.
So if you go on the course and you've never used the kit, it'll just fly over your head.
Have your guys done dealer training?
No, but I guess my brother Jez does a lot of it. He knew BMW anyway, and no, I don't think they have anyway. I think they've just.
Have you just got the BMW kit, or have you got other kit?
No, we've got all the German stuff and Mercedes, Odis,
Yeah.
Land Rover.
Jez always seems to know largely what he's doing with the actual kit once he's on.
Yeah.
We obviously take care of some of the various updates and bits and bobs, or he sometimes rings up. That's the thing.
I know
as well.
the problem recently with the Vauxhall thing, which was a nightmare. You try and use Tech to Win or something on an older car.
Oh, Tech 2 Win. Yeah. Tech 2 Wins. Yes. Have you not got a real Tech 2?
We have somewhere,
Right.
but but then I was remember when you said about the COM port, I remember they were a nightmare with the RS232 lead.
Yes.
It's like
Yeah,
USB to RS232, and you didn't get the driver right for that. It was a nightmare.
And then also, did you ever have the security token as well?
Yeah.
So if the security token took COM port 1, it snookered you because the Tech 2 had to be COM port. Had to be.
Yeah.
So then you had to make that COM port 2. Oh, that was a nightmare. Yeah.
Anyway.
So my final question to want to pick your brain on is SERMI. So the listeners may not have never heard of it. There might be listeners who are terrified of it. What do you know about it? What's your opinion?
Okay, so first of all, obviously it's a standard. It's already in the continent. As a lot of people here will be feeling the pain of the PSA migration to the Fiat system, which is SERMI standard. November
What
last
is
year.
SERMI, just on a basic level?
So it's basically going to be, instead of applying for Jaguar Land Rover security and Ford security, you apply for SERMI security, and that will grant you access. I think at the moment it covers 14 brands on the continent.
Oh, I see.
And then one login will get you into every brand.
Right.
So it covers every brand, 14 brands on the continent, but which ones have opted in the UK?
None. So when it comes, if it comes, I mean, currently, so I spoke to these guys last week about this just to see where they were currently at, as I knew it was coming.
You spoke to who, sorry?
I spoke to RMI, who are sort of part of organising. So first of all, to apply, I'll give you the link. You stick it in the link, so anyone can click that link on this podcast.
Mm-hmm.
It'll take you to the RMI site. There's I was speaking to Tiggs there, and she's taking applications. You can apply already. It's 1,500 quid, but you don't need to pay that till the system comes live. They will start to accredit you. You won't actually be fully accredited until the day the system goes live, but they'll have vetted you and they'll be ready to go. So when the system comes live, they can say yes, and then they'll send you your details and you can use them as login. But right now it's sat with, I mean, she said apparently it's sat with UCAS to decide if that is, are we going to use SERMI? Because the potential is, I don't know, the UK comes up with their own body or something, but I can't really see it.
If all them matches are signed up to that, you thought it makes sense just to continue with that, doesn't it?
It's already operational, and this is why everyone's suffering with PSA login issues right now, because the changeover to the Stellantis login, Peugeot made a hash of it the last 2 weeks of September, ready for November being live, because SERMI went live in France in November, and they had to meet and basically the link between Peugeot and Stellantis it's not fully set up.
Broken.
There's things that aren't right there. Some people are working, some are not.
So it's just sort of like if you've got your data equipment out and you're going to go and do a security related function, at that point will it ask you to log into the SERMI then through that data tool? Is that how it's going to look?
So that's going to depend on the tool itself. Some tools just ask you to log in at the beginning, takes your token, and then you're just accredited at that point. I mean, Mercedes, for instance, at that point is just already working.
And is this just for security related functions, so like coding, keys and that sort of stuff, or is it for diagnostics?
It's just going to be able to just so you can log in.
Log into the data tool full stop? Okay, so no matter what you're doing, you're going to need this.
Yeah.
I thought it only applied to security related stuff.
The thing is, obviously the thing is, we don't know what's actually going to happen, do we? That's the problem right now. At the minute, for instance, if you've got a say a JLR account, you can get an account and you can work on the car, you can diagnostically, but you can't do security until you separately apply for security. Once I've got security, it will be applied to my login. I don't have to do anything different.
Yeah. You just
Right, so it's not like I get in and then I need security.
It's just applied to the account.
And all the manufacturers that have changed their logins, so Volkswagen and Mercedes have both changed their login methods to account for SERMI when it comes. And where previously with Volkswagen, for instance, you would put a code in every time you programmed a key. So that was like accreditation above and beyond. Whereas now, when you log in, you put your rolling code in at the point you log in, and then that session is verified for you with security.
Okay, so it's the whole session.
So I would see that it's going to be
that way.
That's the way it's
So
going to be.
is this happening in Ireland now then?
Ireland's not live yet.
But they're part of the EU.
Yeah, but not
The whole
every EU
EU's
country.
not live. Just saying that.
No.
Yeah. So
So it's just
signed
France.
up in the EU.
Right.
So Italy
sorry.
went live in April, I think it was,
Yeah.
last year. But France didn't go till November.
And that's for all manufacturers.
Well, they currently covers about 14 manufacturers.
Vast amount of them, isn't it? If it's
Yeah.
14.
All the big ones that
Yeah.
you're going to ring me about are all
Yeah.
covered. Yeah.
It's going to be interesting to see, isn't it? Because a garage like us, I mean, we'd very rarely take on any advanced security sort of work.
I guess surely it'd be easier in one sense of form, because rather than having to apply for loads of different manufacturers for security access, and when they update their thing doing something else, you can just have one.
So
Other than the cost of it, I guess it's going to be.
I'm just trying to establish is how much the garages need to worry about this, like your average.
Well, I'd imagine everyone's got the digital equipment will be all over it, won't they? Anyway?
So let's rewind to the remote diagnostic question.
That's what I mean.
Yeah.
That's
So
where
if
I'm
you're
going.
relying on that.
So
Yeah.
so first of all, I mean you've got BMW anyway. You
Yeah.
will need to get SERMI
Yeah.
because otherwise you won't be able to use your BMW tools.
So it is a fact. So what you're stating is that we can't use that tool, no matter what, even if it's just standard routine service like reset work, unless we're SERMI registered.
Yep. As far as we're aware right now,
Okay.
because you won't be able to log. You need that login to log in,
Yeah. Okay.
and you won't be able to log in because obviously you have to pay for every session.
Yeah.
But I guess then the basic functions we still don't have an aftermarket tool. Is that going to bypass that, or is an aftermarket tool going to need to log in as well?
No, an aftermarket tool is just not going to be. Obviously, you might then come up against secure gateway,
Yeah.
which
It's going to be interesting to see it play out, isn't it?
so
But remote diagnostics.
diagnostic.
Where does that legally sit in all of this?
So let's say you need to do, it's not even security, just say it's an update of a engine ECU, no security involved. To get one of the remote companies to do this, you'll have to have a signed letter from the customer saying they're happy for you to perform a software update, V5, and proof of identification from the customer. You have to keep that for 6 years. You then call whichever remote company. You'll then have to provide them with that proof. They have to keep that proof for 6 years as well. And then they're allowed to do the job. But if you can't provide that proof, then they can't do the job.
They shouldn't be doing the job.
No. And if they do, that's so the other thing, if I've read the contract, that was pretty boring. If you did do the job, I mean, nothing's going to happen until they come and vet you.
Yeah, I was
And
gonna
if
say,
they find that's missing,
in reality, it's not going to happen, is it? I guess, but yeah, it's one of the things, isn't it?
but if they find that's missing,
You,
I think I can't remember the exact
You're
time frame.
off.
It was either 14 or 28 days. If you don't provide that V5 or proof of identification or whatever it was within that time frame, then they will cut you off, right? But remember, so this is my next point. This is now tying all of your usernames together, right? And I think James.
You mean all your usernames across all the dealer access?
James Dillon said about this, knows somebody on the continent who did a second-hand ECU from a scrapyard or something on a VAG vehicle. Came up as FATSIT error, and his account got locked because it was a stolen ECU, or it was an ECU from a stolen car.
lock the whole domain out, every user.
Locked all of his
Across
so he didn't just-
all portals.
Didn't just lose Volkswagen. Now, I meant to ask.
You know what
James,
happens there? The used market just finishes because
Yes.
at risk. How do you know?
You can't possibly do it. Now,
There'll be a way.
I meant to ask James this on Saturday when I saw him, and I completely forgot. I can't remember if it just meant they couldn't do security, or if it took everything out.
Yeah.
So when we're saying about the username, we don't know exactly how they're going to structure it, because you might be able to have some sort of SERMI access without having security. Because obviously different. So in your business, we set up your key readers. All of your branches have access, but no security, or they can't do anything. They're just using the. Whereas obviously the guys in the workshop, they've got a different username. I don't know what's going to happen.
Yeah. Interesting. Just what the industry needs. Yeah.
It's funny that you got to keep all this V5 stuff, yet Land Rover the car's getting nicked.
Right. Is there anything? We're an hour and 10 in. Is there any other points that we've not covered that you think could be of interest?
The only thing, popular question we get asked is, what do we do and how does it work?
As Garage Vitals.
Yeah. So funny. I was at Mick Shakeley's on Saturday for his all day Opus IVS open day, and a couple of people were asking me then. I thought, I better talk about that on the podcast. So how does it work? Is the question we get asked. So as Garage Vitals, I really see the primary function is maintenance and updates, but obviously we also do applications, and we'll supply you a laptop where necessary. We run 2 models ad hoc, so you might just ring. You're already operating. Jez does this. We'd look after 1 or 2 of yours, but there's a couple others that we don't. He takes care of them, but sometimes he just, like the Tech 2, he just come unstuck. What do I do? Yeah, so we can just ad hoc, and we're just, if it takes half an hour, bill you half an hour. And then we run a subscription model. So the subscription people, you can pay us for 1 or 2, 3, 4, 5, whatever brands that you want us to.
Is that what we're on?
You guys, I need to speak to you about that actually.
Getting up,
price going up.
Yeah.
No. Well, we were looking after 1, and obviously now you've got 2, and then you've got the key readers, and everything's just ad hoc at the moment. And you just said, just do what I need doing when I need it. So you're almost a hybrid, because we just do.
As and when.
I treat you almost like a subscription customer. I just bill you for the work
monthly.
We do. Whereas, yes, it might be beneficial to swap you across to some sort of, and I need to, you're a bit oddball because you've got these 10 key readers and you've got 2 laptops. So it's a bit, you're different than anyone else. So we'll work something out. Anyway, so the subscription model, we take care of that, whatever the PC needs. So if it, whether that's a Windows update, this year, if you're on Windows 10, you're going to have to upgrade to Windows 11. As of October, Windows 10 will stop being supported. At that point, you're then not going to meet manufacturer spec. So if your laptop will support it, then we will update those customers to Windows 11. If the laptop won't support it, you're going to need to buy a new laptop. Now, whether that's you buy it and we'll deal with it, or we can supply.
About Windows XP?
Yeah, you already don't meet spec. I've currently got 100 laptops on the way.
What, because of this?
Yeah.
Nice.
And I don't think that's
I can't believe that many people are still running Windows 10.
Yeah, well, in fact, it was only 3 weeks ago that JLR started supporting Windows 11 for STD.
A lot of it were manufacturers saying, don't upgrade it.
Yeah, we've been holding people back. In fact, for the last 2.5 years, we've actually, part of our subscription, we put some software on your machine, and it monitors, and it allows us, we basically become Microsoft for you. And we actually specifically wrote a script that holds and prevents your laptop from installing Windows 11.
Right.
Because as soon as it installed it, it was breaking Otis, it was breaking BMW. Yeah. And obviously people see update, they just...
There's no wonder people struggle with it.
Yeah.
Because it's like, even if you know a bit about IT, that's just so illogical, but yeah.
And that's just the way it is. And so, we take care of those. So whether that's, it needs a different version of Adobe or something daft, or whether that's .NET framework, whether it's Windows 11, whatever, we either do upgrade it or we don't, because it's surprising how many different bits of software need to be held back on a slightly older version.
Do you find that a piece of hardware can run multiple diet kits, or do you have a separate bit for each?
So it will run it. I wouldn't recommend it.
Sometimes it's hard drive space, isn't it? It can be,
we get people come in and they might have a terabyte. No worries, it will run. You could probably install 3 on there. But the biggest problem we see is, say you've got, I don't know, PSA and JLR on the side-by-side. If you've got 2 vehicles there, now only one tech can use it, so it stops that.
Yeah, I didn't think about that.
The next thing, what happens when one manufacturer says,
update,
we'll support Windows 11, and the other one says we don't? What about if that one says we won't support Windows 10,
Is dual boot still a thing? Like having different.
Less and less now. The problem with dual boot. So if you're a subscription customer, we won't support it. Right. The reason being is I need to make your life as easy as possible. You paid me to make your life easy, right? If you've got a dual boot machine,
you need someone.
All of our updates are going to involve a restart at some point, right? Now I press restart and now it doesn't boot. Now I've got to ring you and you've got to and
or it boots the wrong one.
Or sometimes default boots the wrong partition. So and again you're then back to now Windows updates or any updates. You can only work on one half of the machine at a time. Everything's twice. You need to use it. You're shouting at me. I need that right now.
I think your point of being able to use it on different vehicles. That's the one, isn't it? It's just a different scanner, I guess.
But what about, let's say you don't need it on the same vehicle. You've got a Peugeot in now, you've got a JLR afterwards. The JLR, there's an update for it, but I can't do the update for you because you're using it on the Peugeot. Now I've got that on a...
it sounds like it can start the laptop for a few hours, can't it? Not doing anything, but
So we, also as part of subscription, we proactively send messages out saying, I don't know, the payment portal's down, or programming's down, or this system's down, so that say
is this if there's an issue with one of the systems, you're proactively
rather than bringing the car into the workshop and going
exactly. You get a text, it says BMW's down, no worries, I look at my diary, that's all right, I'll bring the Volkswagen in, right? And then we send you a text, system's back up.
So you're a really good starting point for a garage that wants to make their life easier with Diag. Just pick up the phone to you.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
you can point them in the right. It might be that you point them to someone else, or you say, right, I've got this bit of kit, I can provide you the kit.
Yep.
Go here for the training. So, what? How do they get hold of you if they're interested in this?
Yeah, so you can either email us. Obviously, if you just go to the website garagefiles.co.uk. Contact numbers on there, email addresses on there. There's also a support button. So obviously, if you did ring us, you can just click the support button, and we'll give you a code, and we can remote in.
Yeah.
The subscription customer ones, we have permanent access with no code. So if your laptop's turned on, we have access.
You can just dial in.
So we just jump in.
Yeah.
BMW updates, for instance, when they come out, as soon as BMW release an update, you have to update. It doesn't work.
Yeah.
So what we do with those guys, if you're on subscription, first of all, obviously we prioritise the subscription customers. But if the update's launched, we send a text out. We start pushing the files out to everybody. But if you've got one on a ramp and you ring up, we always prioritise the people with one on a ramp.
Of course.
At the end of the day, you got it on the ramp. You're like, well, I ain't got a BMW in till tomorrow.
Yeah.
So I'll do you later. And predominantly, you'll probably only find 10 people got one. Like, do you know what I mean? We can deal with 10 in a short space of time. But when you got...
Do you get foresight of these updates, or do you just wake up to everything's on fire?
BMW will drop an update at any given moment. So it could be 12 o'clock on a Friday.
It could be right now.
It could be now. It could be
4 p.m. on a Friday.
Well, to be fair, they're typically like sort of 5 o'clock, sort of Tuesday, Wednesday. Not always.
What if they drop an update during a coding or something?
So I've seen this twice, and the session you're in continues to work.
Right.
Especially if you're in the middle of programming. If you're in a session and you're just moving between functions, you'll sometimes get invalid ticket, which suggests that it's to do with your flat rate to use the program, but it's not. It's to do with the fact that the version has changed. And then you just have to come out, update, and then go back in.
Yeah.
Not as bad as, was it Avast that dropped that software update, that big antivirus software company? Was it them? Yeah, that brought the whole world down.
CrowdStrike.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that was blue screen of death, wasn't it?
Yeah,
It was, that was a
few
whole
million computers.
Yeah, that's a bit of a mess.
Yeah, so that's something else. We see people with third-party endpoints. So CrowdStrike, CrowdStrike are above anything that we would probably be using in this industry. I would have said it's much more of a corporate thing, and it's something that gets booted before Windows even boots, which is why it was the blue screen. There's no one using that in our industry, but people that use, whether that's Bitdefender or Avast or whatever, third-party virus and endpoints. We see quite a lot of companies that will use an outside IT company, and they'll have an endpoint, they call it, which is like a virus program controlled by their third-party IT company on every single machine in the premises. And part of our subscription thing is that's got to be off the machine. The trouble is it blocks ports firewalls, and there's things going on there that you can't account for. And I suppose push come shove, we could probably get them the right ports, and they could. But for me,
they update constantly as well.
Yeah.
We use Bitdefender, and it's just constantly updating.
Yeah. So my predisposed position is it's just straight Windows. I mean, we take all the crap off, all the solitaire and all the rest of it, just so it's and it's just Windows Defender, because all the platforms are built for Windows Defender and to go on Windows, just normal straight. Typically, not with no user account control as well. Like Persia, you have to have full access rights, so it won't work. So there's all these little bits, and we have had a few companies that have had to threaten to leave their third-party IT company if they won't remove it, because I won't support them otherwise.
Yeah.
And how can I support you when there's someone else in there adding,
It makes
blocking
sense.
ports? It's it's a nightmare.
Right, I think we'll wrap up there. An hour and 20. Thank you so much for. Well, you travelled up to Mick Shaker's, didn't you? Then you've travelled up. Where are you going next?
I would say it broke the journey up, but getting to Mix was all day.
Yeah.
Like the M25 was bad, then roadworks,
And just a few 6 hours home from here.
it was yeah.
Are you home after this, or are you?
No, we are home
Yeah.
now. Yeah,
Oh,
but
dear.
it's we're not gonna be home till late by the time Jen does her.
Yeah. Okay, really appreciate your time, mate.
Sounds good. Thanks, guys.
Awesome
Yeah, thank
business.
you.
It's great to see. I mean, I saw it from its an idea to what it is now, and well done, mate. It's a brilliant business. I know. I mean, us too. I didn't actually know you use Garage Vitals, and you probably didn't know I use Garage Vitals, but lots of customers everywhere. Yeah. Keep up the great work, mate. And if they're interested, we'll put a link in the description and just reach out to you.
Yeah, fantastic.
Awesome.
Thanks, Mark. Cheers.
Okay, right.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Cheers,
Thanks, guys.
Bye bye.